Welcome to the third episode of Olvia Academy series. In this video I'll be going through the processing and training quest lines and showing you exactly how to get through them as quickly and efficiently as possible. To start the processing quest line, click the deer icon in the top right corner, select processing and then go to Lilia. She'll enroll you in the courses and guide you through the entire quest line. If you don't see this menu, check out the first episode where I show how to start your courses. The first quest covers the basics of processing. You can click through each individually if you're new or want to learn more, but since I already know it, I'll complete it and move on. The next processing quest requires making flour by grinding. Head to Zyra to get the ingredients. She's the main NPC for material-based quests in the academy. Once you have the potatoes, press L to open the processing menu and click the grinding icon. You'll see two options, but one might be grayed out. This happens if you don't have a processing stone equipped. You can buy one from the marketplace or material vendor. Don't enhance it, you'll get a free try stone later from the academy rewards. This time mass process will be available. Here's the difference so you understand it in the future. Start will process one by one until the material runs out, while mass process processes large batches depending on your processing mastery. It takes a bit more time per batch, but it's generally faster as it's going to give you a bigger yield. If you want to increase your mastery and success rate, you can use a seafood cron meal. If you're already processing, you can use it from your inventory without stopping, but you can slot it in instead and it'll work. Or you can use the auto potion method if your fairy has continuous care. You can also use an alchemy stone like a spirit stone for extra success rate. Once finished, return to Lilia for the next quest. Next quest asks you to make dough by shaking. Head back to Zyra for the ingredients, open the processing tab and select shaking. Add potato, flour, and mineral water. For this quest we're making potato dough, but the process is the same for wheat, barley, and so forth. Once ready, select the mass process, then head back to Lilia for the next quest. This quest requires processing 2 tiers of the same item. Return to Zyra to get your materials. At this stage, I also recommend collecting the free try processing stone from your rewards. It helps increase your yield per successful process. Equip the try stone, press L, go to chopping, and then add your logs. You can mass process them, then select chopping again, but this time add your usable Scantling that you just processed. You can either choose start or mass process. Since it's only 10, start is faster, but it doesn't really matter. Once done, return to Lilia. This quest requires you to make cheese by drying. Make sure you're inside a house, since drying doesn't work if it's raining outside. Get ingredients from Zyra once again, open processing by clicking L on your keyboard, go to drying, and then add milk, mass process, and return to Lilia. Next, you'll purify water, which is heavily used in alchemy. Collect materials from Zyra, open processing, go to filtering, and then mass process. Return to Lilia. This quest asks you to melt iron shards and craft iron ingots. Once you have your ingredients from Zyra, press L and then go to heating. Add your iron and mass process, then add iron shards to make iron ingots. Since it's only 10, you can use start and then return to Lilia once you've completed. The next quest is simple, you just need to listen to Lilia. This is valuable information if you're new to processing or new to the game in general. So if you're going to read it, make sure to read it carefully and not spam R. Once done, continue to the slightly harder final quest. The final processing quest asks you to craft Star Diamond, Forest Emerald, Blood Ruby, Ocean Sapphire, and Gold Topaz. You will need one of each. If you're unsure how to craft them, you can just click the quest for the recipe. To begin, let's look for Gem Polisher on the marketplace. You'll need 15 of them. If it's unavailable, set a pre-order or use alchemy to craft them. You'll need 7 of each tier below your target gem to complete the quest. If they're unavailable, go on the tier below. For example, Emerald was sold out, so I purchased the tier below. Then grind them to get the item we actually need. I recommend using start since each process uses 5 emeralds. Once you have all 5 gems and 15 gem polishers, process them individually via shaking. Repeat for all, then return to Lilia to complete the questline. Finally, type Olvia Frontier in general chat and collect your free EXP rewards from the Academy Pass. If the right side isn't available, buy the 100 silver free passes from the Pearl shop. Now that we've finished the processing quest, let's begin the training. Click the deer icon, select training, and enroll with Lorenzo Moray. This quest takes some time, so using an alt is recommended for efficiency. The first quest gives you basic information and a rope for catching horses. You can buy more from the stable that have a shop, but Lorenzo doesn't sell them. The next quest is to capture a wooden horse. You don't need lump of sugar for this one, but I'll use it to demonstrate for your future taming quest. The first step is to place the rope in slot 1 and slot 2, but this is a preference, I just prefer to put it in those slots. Stand a reasonable distance from the horse and look for the red markers. It won't work if someone else is already attached to the horse, so you may need to wait. Once you see the markers, left click and then walk towards the horse. Eventually you will be given a minigame, which may look complicated, but it's actually super easy. Your task is to keep it on the right side by the time the 5 seconds runs out. You can even wait until the last 1 or 2 seconds before clicking space a few times. Once near the horse, feed it with the raw sugar, then press R to mount the horse, and congrats, you've tamed your first horse. Return to Lorenzo to start the next quest. This quest requires crafting a lump of raw sugar. You can get materials from a food vendor which is located here in Olvia, then click L and head to heating, and make 5 lumps of raw sugar. Once you're done, return to Lorenzo. In this quest, you'll be tasked with taming a wild horse. Use the same steps you learned on the wooden horse quest to complete this one. Lorenzo will provide you a lot of different locations, but I prefer to do it in Duverkroon since I have an alt character there and I know the horse locations. You can use the recommended spots or use a website like BDO to know the horse locations and respawn timers. I'll have the link in the description for that website. Return to Lorenzo after taming the wild horse. For this quest, you'll be tasked with leveling a horse to level 10. The fastest method is by purchasing a level horse from the marketplace and leveling it 1 level. I recommend a tier 6 since it's cheaper and a smaller EXP table. To level the horses faster, I recommend using the training clothes and riding crop from the Academy rewards. You can also use the Horse over Flowers Lightstone set, but it's a little bit expensive and it's not really needed. And lastly, you can use buffs like Celerity Draught, Lara's Warm Tea, and Stonetail Meal. There's other buffs, but essentially you want to use things that have Mount EXP and not Life or Training EXP, since those aren't going to target the EXP of the actual horse. Once you've chosen the buffs and items, your next step is to look for a location where you want to autopath. Once you've found the spot, where you're standing will be point A, and then open your map and select point B by right clicking and then selecting a loop. This will make your horse go back and forth without you having to do anything. I'd also disable auto sprint since this tends to get you stuck in walls and so forth. Then just let your horse gain EXP until level 10. Return to Lorenzo once you've leveled the horse. The next quest will be similar to the previous quests, but you will need to tame 2 horses instead of 1. Using a wagon is easier as you can hold 4 horses, but is not required at all since the horse will follow you to the stable. Register the horse and repeat the same process for the second horse. Once you've tamed the 2 horses, return to Lorenzo to start the next quest. The next quest will introduce you to breeding. You'll need a female and a male horse. Click the male horse and then go to register at breeding and make sure to select show only me. This means other players won't be able to breed using your horse. Then request breeding with a female from the breeding market. You will need to wait about 2 hours and a bit, then click complete once it's done. Return to Lorenzo to begin the next quest. This quest will ask you to Imperial deliver a horse, which is the best method if you need materials for the T10 horse attempts. In order to Imperial a horse, it must be level 15 or higher, and it can be any tier. There are 2 options on how to complete this quest. If you're in a hurry, you can purchase a level 15 or higher T6 horse from the marketplace. Otherwise, let's go capture some horses and hope you get lucky with a level 15 or higher. Once you obtain the horse with whichever method you preferred, click on it and then go into Imperial Horse Delivery. Once complete, return to Lorenzo for the final quest. The final quest can either be very quick or it can take a while. It comes down to luck. Your objective here is to find a T7 horse, which are rare compared to T6s. To find T7s, you'll mainly be swapping channels and hoping for the best. In the spot where I usually catch horses, T7s are very easy to identify. They have spiky hair, unlike T6s, which the hair is down, and their coat pattern are also completely different as well. In this channel, there weren't any T7s available, and I was on channel cooldown, so I decided to just capture the 4 horses here to pass the time. Then swap channels and check again. You'll basically repeat this process, capture what's available, swap channels, and hope a T7 appears, until you actually find one. You might also notice that I'm catching horses a bit differently than what I demonstrated earlier. This method uses a mouse to move feature which you can enable in the in-game settings, similar to how gathering works. The idea is to do everything exactly the same as I taught before, but once you're close enough to the horse, you'll simply use the mouse to move and press R. Sometimes it will fail, and that's totally fine. You just redo it. This method is much faster once you get used to it and can save you hundreds of hours if you plan on catching a lot of horses in the future. But it's definitely more advanced and not required for this quest. Here's what a T7 looks like. As you can see, it looks completely different compared to the generic T6. capturing it using everything you've learned so far, and just to be sure, I fed it raw sugar since I wasn't sure if the method I was using could cause any glitch. Once you successfully capture the T7, return to Lorenzo to complete the quest line. Congrats, you now know how to process items and catch and ride horses. If you would like more advanced training tips, you can actually check my in-depth training guide, which I posted a few months back. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you in the next episode.